Well, yesterday you heard all about my building of the discipline muscle around exercise and running. Today you're going to get to hear a personal story from Kay, as well as some of the reasons why we don't choose discipline.
So stay tuned for a little bit more about this deep dive into all things discipline. If you're hearing all this culture talk and want to be a part of a thriving, growing culture, we want to invite you to be a part of Squeeze In.
Squeeze In Franchising offers you the chance to bring a culture and a vibe like Squeeze In to your community. You can make money, you can get time freedom for you and your family. We would love to have you as part of our Squeeze In family.
Join us in the ownership team and go to squeezein.com/franchising.
You're enjoying this episode on Angel Phoenix Productions Podcast Network. To explore a complete lineup of quality programs and media production services, head on over to angelphoenix.com or like our Facebook page at facebook.com/Angel Phoenix Productions.
All right, like Shai teased, I am going to share with you a little bit about a habit that I have said goodbye to, a destructive habit of watching too much television. Now, I would be lying if I said that I didn't watch any TV now, because even just last night, I got an episode of a new series called Sandman on Netflix. Add it to your running shows.
I've heard.
So
it's really good.
It's so good. But I love TV. Maybe you're like me and you love story, you love the drama, you love the cinematography. Like, I've always loved TV and I've had it in my life since I was a kid. But in 2016, I was examining the habits that took up the most time in my life. Now, I do want to add the caveat here that in 2016, I did not have any children. I did not realize how much time children take out of your life and your day. But at this time, I was averaging about 4 hours of television a day. Now, that might seem like a lot when you say 4 hours, but it doesn't seem like a lot when you say 4 episodes, right? So 4 episodes of TV a night. And what I started to realize was that, if I want to be the type of person that is an active learner and grower, is a person who identifies as a fitness enthusiast, as a person who is present with her family, a person who's present with her life, that giving 4 hours of my time every single day, 28 hours a week, meaning a whole day, and 4 hours of my time every single week dedicated to someone else's story and someone else's narrative, well, those two things just weren't congruent.
So what you did from that was make that decision to shift it, to first bring awareness to it, and then to shift into how can I replace that time? It's not just about, and I think this is where so many of us get it wrong when it comes to discipline. It's not just about removing the thing we don't want. It is about replacing it with what we do want, right? Like, one of the best things you can do is say, who is it that I want to be, and really get clear on who that is. And then say, how does that person spend a day? How does this person that I want to be, what does their schedule look like? What does their commitments look like? What does their diet look like? From there, we're going to be able to extract and extrapolate the behaviors that we need to actively engage in order to become that person. And so, as Kate just demonstrated, who I want to be, the things I want to achieve, the things that I want to be focused on, wasn't congruent with 4 hours spent on TV a day. And so you said, well, what is that woman doing? This woman is engaging in learning and growth, in particular, reading books.
Yeah. So I replaced that TV habit with a book habit. Now, at first, in order to get myself to actually take action, I needed to put the discipline cookies on the bottom shelf. I needed to make them easy for me to access in the beginning. Much like yesterday, you heard Shyla started with 30 minutes a day on the elliptical, an easier exercise necessarily than running. And so I started out with reading fiction books, right? Things that would capture my attention, getting myself into the reading habit. The other grab bag of things that I added into my time were things like self-care, taking intentional baths, or something that I like to call self-care showers. I added in organizational projects. I added in journaling, and I have this grab bag of things that I could get to. And what I did at first too was reduced that TV time. I didn't say no TV, because you can't go from 4 hours to none of your whole life and then be okay. But I said, you know what? I'm going to give myself 1 hour of TV a day. And it ended up making TV more special for me and something that was more gratifying when I got to engage in it, and my quality of life really improved.
I love that story. And since then, you've been able to read over, I think, 250 books.
Yep.
You track your book reading. It averages out to about 50 books a year. It's been amazing to see what you've been able to do and how you've been able to grow just by bringing first awareness and then action to that habit that was already in place. Like, we all have the same 24 hours in a day. And I'm putting that in air quotes because it's not always equally distributed, right? Those who have access to a lot of resources are more easily able to design and craft their 24 hours. But the truth is that there is that kind of general basis of we all have the same 24 hours, which means deciding how you spend that 24 hours and disciplining yourself around those behaviors can really be that difference maker between achieving who it is you want to be and what it is you want to do, and just staying on the couch and staying stagnant. So I love your story here on Discipline, Kay. And we all know the reasons why we don't choose discipline. It's comfortable. It's just today. It's justification. It's I deserve it. It's all of those things.
Oh, I'll get to it tomorrow.
Right? Those are thieves of our dreams, and bringing that awareness and then action to it can really help you steal back your attention and your time, and then ultimately your destiny.
So the last 2 days, you heard some personal stories and examples of how we've implemented discipline for success in our lives. Tomorrow, we're going to talk a little bit about an external example from an author you heard us talk about in Monday's episode, David Goggins. So stay tuned for tomorrow's Fangirl episode. We look forward to being at you then.
This podcast was a production of Angel Phoenix Productions. Explore more episodes of this show or other great shows on the Angel Phoenix Podcast Network by visiting angelphoenix.com. The views expressed in this show do not necessarily represent those of Angel Phoenix Productions or its advertisers, and may contain language that's unsuitable for younger listeners.